For me, this lockdown pay-per-view was supposed to really represent a developing TNA, a TNA that I was really starting to enjoy, a TNA that was all about focusing on new talent and their own talent, doing things differently, going down a different path after a real torrid time in 2013 with the Aces and Eights angle. But boy, did tonight just end up being typical TNA in so many fucking ways. I've praised this company for the last 3 or 4 weeks, saying that the products have been getting better. They're focusing on new guys. I have hope for this company. And then we get locked down.
Well, sadly, going into this pay-per-view, we got teasers of guys to get a push out of this, but in the end, yeah, TNA showed us what their direction is.
Considering this is only... Alright, problem number 1. Considering this is one of your probably, was it 3 pay-per-views a year, you'd really think the TNA want to make this feel like a big deal. Did this show feel like a big deal anyway? I mean, fucking half the crowd was fucking taped off for a start. The crowd wasn't very good throughout this whole show. This is just after you've been to the UK and you've had great crowds that sound great, that fucking seem to care about the product, and as soon as you come back to America to do a damn pay-per-view, one of your biggest of the year, the crowd sounds like this. When a crowd sounds like the way it did and was as emotionless as it was, it does not make a show. I mean, imagine if the WrestleMania was like this. You know, it doesn't matter how fucking good it is, it don't feel like a big deal unless the crowd are fucking into the show.
Sadly, the fact that TNA were in the UK, I don't know why they didn't branch out for one pay-per-view. Yes, they have to find the right arena and right time, but the crowd were with it, which TNA noticed, which is the important thing.
It's funny, isn't it? As soon as TNA go back to America, they fail to fill out an arena. And you could very much tell that from the sound, and you really could. And the fans chanting for CM Punk, really? Really, on a TNA show? I'm sorry, but that is just fucking idiotic. Just saying. Anyway, if you have any comments on this show, please put them in the comment section below. We'll be discussing this show periodically and just giving a rundown as to what this really represented for TNA compared to what we feel it should have represented. We'll start off by having a big attraction to the show. You would think that they would want to promote the hell out of this. I'm all for cross-promotion, but it's not cross-promotion without the promotion part of the world. Did you know anything about the Great Muta? Did TNA let you know if the Great Muta was on the show? Did they give you video package? Did they tell you who this guy was? I mean, I found out through the internet this guy was a Japanese legend and everything, but you wouldn't have fucking known because they never mentioned him on the fucking TV show.
The thing I find really disappointing is this match came through announcing on Twitter instead of announced on the show. So you got 3 Japanese guys who TNA want us to cheer for against the heels in this match. If we don't know who they are, how are we meant to cheer for them?
I mean, the Great Muta is a legend, and Sonata is the fucking TNA X Division champion. He won it against Austin Aries at the TNA vs. Wrestle 1 event. You know, not that you would fucking know. Like I said, I'm all for cross-promotion with Japan, Mexico, but it's not cross-promotion without the fucking promotion, TNA! My God! And as TNA didn't promote the Great fucking Muta, I'm not going to talk about this match. Let's just move on. Manic versus Tigre Uno was this other sort of unannounced advertised match with Mexican talent in it, etc. But I think at this point in the show, after the Samuel Shaw match and everything, the pay-per-view needed something to liven up the crowd a little bit, and this did a decent job in livening up the crowd. If not, this was a bit of a spot fest, but it was one of those spot fests that at least did something to try and get the crowd going, because it was kind of dead.
From this match compared to the first one, we knew that this Tiger Uno was going to be coming into TNA. It was his big debut, and they made it feel important on his behalf. His performance was good. It was great to see him move. And put him against another masked wrestler, obviously, to build up the story. I don't think it was that bad at all.
No, like I said, it did its job in kind of warming up the crowd a little bit. New X Division talent. Okay. Along with the Kenny King vignette, which means Kenny King could be coming back. Thank fuck for that. Samuel Shaw versus Mr. Anderson in an Escape the Cage match. You know what? Let's just ignore the whole suicide attempt bullshit. Let's just not go there. I don't really think this is about the match. I mean, the match here was kind of inconsequential. It was really more about the post-match when you had Samuel Shaw dragging Chrissy Hemming in through the camera hole in the ring. Kind of makes you think, could the wrestler just not escape through the damn camera hole, etc.? And then Anderson manages to get back in the ring and he chokes out Anderson and wins the match because the referee didn't see Anderson. It just screams of Russo.
For 3/4 of this match, I really felt that Sam Shaw weren't getting spotlighted at all. It was all about Mr. Anderson getting the upper hand, looking like the hero. I'm really, really glad that they did the whole swerve, so he picked up the win. Then he had his Chrissy Hem moment. The match was about Anderson, the after match was about Shaw.
It was more really about enhancing the Samuel Shaw character, which has been incredibly interesting. I know a lot of people were shit on the match, but I don't think the focus really should be on the match here. The focus really should be that Samuel Shaw got the fucking win, and they did a little bit there to continue on his character a little bit. That's all I'll say about that. EC3, was supposed to have a match against Kurt Angle, which I was actually really excited about, and then we got the news that Kurt Angle was injured and this match would happen. That kind of disappointed me a little bit, but what can you do? Kurt Angle, was injured. You can't really do too much about that, can you?
The whole Kurt Angle and EC3...
It was great. They built it really.
I really got into it. And Kurt Angle being famous for lockdown cage matches, I was thinking Kurt Angle's chance to give EC3 a big match. The injury could have played in EC3's favour, but instead we got Lashley.
I'll give it to TNA though. Didn't see this one coming. Didn't see Bobby Lashley coming in. And to be honest, I'm quite glad they didn't have a match. And 2 pieces of offense was really all that needed. It was really all that was needed. But it's yet another ex-WWE guy that they're bringing in.
The question the commentator left us was: Is Bobby Lashley returning back to TNA again?
Yeah. So not even the people in the company know if he's returned. And to be honest, EC3 was like, "You're not part of the roster." Yeah, that was kind of funny. But I mean, EC3 is definitely an interesting character. But Bobby Lashley coming back, another ex-WWE guy. Okay, let's talk about something good. Gunner versus James Storm. I thought this build going into this, again, was very good. I was really looking forward to this last man standing match between the two. It was really good to see them going at it from the get-go, from the ramp. Kind of reminded me of James Storm, Bobby Roode from Lockdown 2012. I thought this match was physical, like it needed to be. It told a good story about 2 guys just wanting to beat the fucking piss out of each other. They actually got Mike TNA to actually show some damn emotion, which is very fucking rare in TNA.
Going into this pay-per-view, you wanted this to feel like a big deal, especially if Gunner's going to be getting a push from this.
Yes.
Maybe it wouldn't have been the best idea, but just a thought, wouldn't this have been a fast-paced, good opener to the show to get the crowd cheering, pumped up? I know they deserve to be higher, but with the other big matches you've got coming up, to space them out individually, this match, especially after match, it got the crowd really into it.
The crowd were, into this, not as much as they probably should have been, but they were. But I think opening a card with an unannounced match, that isn't really important, like they do on the pre-show in WWE, was more about, because this, like I said, deserved higher up on the card, definitely. Gunner wins after the top rope suplex through 2 chairs. I'm quite glad Gunner's won this. I mean, you compare Gunner to what he was like 2 years ago, and boy, has he just gone from there to there now, Gunner. I mean, he's not great on the mic, but at least they're trying to do something with a new, fresh character on the roster. And this was a good example of TNA doing what I thought they were going to do a little bit more in this pay-per-view.
It's really building up the Gunner character, which is great, because obviously they're trying to push Gunner, which is something we want from TNA. New talent get pushed. James Storm, yes, he's still not really growing, but the feud going into this pay-per-view, the importance of this match, it definitely did it justice.
Raised both guys, I think, this feud has. Gail Kim versus Madison Rayne. So, in my opinion, one of the better matches of the night. True. Gail Kim versus Madison Rayne for the Knockouts Championship. You know what? Going in, didn't care about this match at all, but I did glance at it every now and then, and it did look like they did try, and they did end up putting on a half-decent Knockouts match with Madison Rayne winning, even though I didn't really care. So I'll give credit where credit is due, but it doesn't mean I cared about this. I mean, you've got a 5-time champ going up against a, 4-time champ? I can't remember, but they've both been multiple champion winners, Come on.
I give credit, the match weren't bad. Lady Tapper really didn't do much, but the thing that really gave me this match is we've seen this match. Everyone's chanting for new stuff in the Knockouts. When this match has been replayed, it didn't feel like something different. It didn't really feel like progression in the Knockouts division. So that was the downfall. The match weren't bad, though.
Magnus versus Samoa Joe. Joe's rules, TNA World Heavyweight Championship. Of course, TNA, knowing TNA, would not have this be the main event. Some things really don't change, do they? Oh, we have 2 TNA originals here. Are we going to put them in the main event for the World Heavyweight Championship? No, we're not. But to be honest with you, after what happened, I'm damn glad this wasn't the fucking main event. Because if this was the main event, I'd have hated this show more than I actually did. I mean, the match was going along fine.
It was.
And then you had Samoa Joe just get pulled underneath the ring by someone. And then he gets back out and he's starting to choke Magnus. And then it turns out that Magnus and Abyss were in cahoots the whole time. And totally killed the crowd. Now, I understand what they're going for here. They had Abyss say, he needs to find someone, who's going to sort him out, etc. But do you really care about Abyss that much that you could be as part of the World Heavyweight Championship? Part of Magnus, teaming up with Magnus. Really, really.
From the quality of the match that Mr. Parkin's spoken about, the Abyss stuff, as much as I love the Monster Abyss, I didn't really feel he fit into this match. He didn't really fit into Magnus, because he was pumping up, I'm going to find a guy who understands me, can fit my kind of character, and it happens to be Magnus. I just didn't like it. No.
This is what I get for praising TNA over the last 4 weeks. This is karma coming back. This is not the actual karma coming back, but yeah. So this, in my opinion, totally killed the crowd, and really, it kind of killed me for this pay-per-view, because again, Magnus versus Samoa Joe rules. Even if Magnus won this in a bullshit way, I would have been alright with that. I really would have done. These guys, I just wanted to see them put on a decent to good to very good match, and just at least this just can't even put it into words. I'm sorry, this just killed me.
I really felt that this is the big match that people wanted to see. Tag team partners in a match, really going at it. How was Magnus going to overcome Samoa Joe? If Samoa Joe was going to become the champion, there was so much positivity in this. Yes, they could have a rematch. It's not going to feel as important now as it's gone past lockdown. And the question is, how is Abyss going to fit into this for the future going on? Yeah.
Advertising for Impact. Team MVP versus Team Dixie in a lethal lockdown for control of TNA, I guess we'll call it. Do you know what? The crowd sure went quiet after Willow, didn't they? The crowd kind of died, and it took a couple of nice spots by the Wolves and a couple of bits of weapon usage to get the crowd back into the match. But Willow,
Dixie Carter really tried to make his return, Jeff Hardy's return, feel important by keeping him out the arena, security guarding every exit, and then all of a sudden he appears at the top, and no one really cared as much as they should have.
And then out comes Dixie Carter, of course, because this is TNA, bringing out Dixie Carter in the main event. Whether it be a main event segment of an Impact show or TNA, and she gives us a special referee, which is Bully Ray. And then Bully Ray ends up turning face. It's like so much for that insurance policy. So for the second year in a row, Bully Ray is involved in a double cross on lockdown, and once again we have a 40-something in TNA ending the damn show by power bombing the TNA guy, Bobby Roode, through the table, which didn't actually get used in the match. And it's like, the match ended up being okay. There was, towards the end, generally when the match starts getting a little bit hotter, and the crowd kind of got into it after the Willow thing, just saying. But for Bully, again, what we said at the beginning of this show, TNA was supposed to represent pushing new people, doing different things, doing things in a better way. And then we get Bully Ray being the final thing we see on lockdown. It's like kind of goes against a lot of that, doesn't it? Let's face it.
As much as I love the Bully Ray character, I didn't feel... And plus, MVP, who owns part of the company at the moment already with his power thing, he didn't say enter Bully Ray. Bully Ray was entered in the match, even though you've got MVP there. The face turn predicted, as some people were saying on Twitter and Facebook, but I'm sorry, the concentration should have been on the debuting Wolves. It should have been on MVP's team, and
the thing that really sums it up is the fact that we're not talking about MVP controlling the company now. We're talking about fucking Bully Ray ending the damn show. So MVP has now got control of the company. After the way they did the semi-main event, you kind of knew the babyfaces were going to go over here. Maybe not in this way. I'm all for unpredictability and everything, but come on, TNA. This is just same old fucking shit. It really is. I'm just saying, Dave Lagana. I'm just saying to Dixie Carter. After all the praise we gave your company, you just had to fucking punch me in the face, didn't you? You just had to fucking palm me in the chin. You just had to hammer fist me in the nose, didn't you? Anyway, overall thoughts on lockdown, NJ, go.
Going into it, the feeling of the matches we were meant to get failed because of the stuff TNA decided to do instead of leaving the matches as they were. So in the end, you could say it's good matches, yes. Progression with characters, yes. But stuff that really didn't help the feeling of the pay-per-view.
Oh boy, isn't Lockdown going to be interesting this Thursday with, Bobby Lashley returning, with Abyss being aligned with Magnus, with Bully Ray ending the damn Lockdown show like he did last year with the fucking Aces and Eights angle. Like I said, for me, this TNA show was supposed to represent a new birth of TNA, doing things right, pushing new stars, elevating new characters, elevating TNA guys over the fucking WWE rejects, etc. And they did some of that on this show. Samuel Shaw, Gunner, a couple others. But mostly is what I'm going to remember this pay-per-view for is really disappointing in the sense of what I really expected to get from this pay-per-view. For the last month or so, TNA has been very good. I've really felt that TNA were going to push their own stars and do all these things that I believe they needed to do to really start getting back on track. And I just wonder, with the fact that this show, again, didn't feel big league at all, when now they're back in America, I just wonder now, what the fuck is TNA going to be doing going forward?
EC3. EC3.
Knowing TNA, it will probably be bring back Sting, bring back Sting, bring back Sting. Leave us your thoughts on this Lockdown pay-per-view, please. If you have any positive thoughts, please let us know. We'd love to know.
And goodbye, Dixie, and for Mr. Parkin and me, NJ, thank you very much, and goodbye.